This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Thursday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Here's what's making headlines on this January 23rd. Human trafficking is an issue that affects every county in Indiana. How one survivor is working to raise awareness and protect others.
Concerns are mounting about the side effects of popular antibiotics. Call 6 investigates why parents and doctors are concerned about the federal government's latest move.
And Indiana University is making a big change to its admission applications, why they're no longer requiring prospective students to submit their standardized test scores. But first, we need to get a check with Storm Team 6 meteorologist Todd Clausen and give him a score for his forecast.
Yeah, and so far this morning, we're giving you 2 thumbs up because it is warmer than it has been this week, Todd.
It is. You know, temperatures, instead of being in the teens, they're in the 30s right now. So that's a big jump forward as we're about 15 degrees warmer. The trade-off is not a whole lot in the way of sunshine today, and then eventually some rain. Storm Team 6 radar, pretty quiet right now. There's a few flurries on the western side of the state, and that is just about it. And as I change the radar over to a different type of radar, you can see it looks a lot more potent once you get across to Illinois. And not all of this is reaching the ground in Indiana, but if you live or you're traveling on the western side of the state, don't be shocked if you see a flurry this morning, and that is just about it. But this is a very slow-moving band of precipitation, whether it be the snow or the rain, so it's going to take a little while for it to make its way into our area. In fact, it's going to take most of the day. It's not until tonight after sunset that the bulk of the rainfall makes its way into the area. Here are those temperatures right around the freezing mark. We're going up into the mid-40s here later on this afternoon with just cloudy skies. Once we get to 4 p.m., that's when we'll start to see the chance of an isolated shower, but most of them hold off again until after 8 o'clock this evening. I'll walk you through the evening and beyond using TrueCast hour by hour coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look at our traffic now. Matt, plan out your commute this Thursday morning. Heading southbound on I-65 from the northwest side, starting off here in the Dog Lake, I-865 going to the north split, I-70. It's a 17-minute drive. That's normal. Everything is traveling smoothly. So let's take a look in the downtown area. Live picture from our INDOT traffic camera at I-65 and I-70. This is at the south split. No crashes here to slow you down. We'll continue to keep our eyes on your roads, and we'll keep you updated throughout the morning.
A shooting suspect is in the hospital this morning after allegedly leading police on a chase on the west side of Indianapolis. Police say the suspect crashed around 10 last night near West Vermont Street and Gasoline Alley. According to IMPD, they were pursuing him after a shooting that took place earlier in the night on Beachway Drive. Both the suspect and shooting victim are expected to survive. If you have any information on either of these incidents, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers.
Miraculously, there are no injuries after this fiery crash and explosion between 2 semis. This happened last night around 7 o'clock on I-70 East near Greenfield. Investigators say that a semi collided with another truck that was stopped on the shoulder, causing the explosion and that large fire. 2 other semis went off the road during this incident. The interstate was closed for several hours and it reopened around 1 o'clock this morning.
An Indianapolis man is accused of shooting and killing his girlfriend while she was lying in bed. This new information coming from charging documents against 27-year-old Damarian Moore. IMPD announced his arrest Monday in connection to 2 homicides at separate apartment complexes on the west side. According to the probable cause, Moore killed his girlfriend Shawnee Scott and Krishan Snelling on January 8th. Scott's body was found the next day. A date has not been set for Moore's next court hearing.
Time now is 5:04. January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and although the thought is scary and something you might not even consider could happen to a member of your family, officials here in Indiana say that this is happening in every county across our state.
Our Kelsey Anderson sat down with a survivor who says she was trafficked at just 11 years old by her own mom. Kelsey, this brave woman is sharing her story with you in order to protect other Hoosiers.
Yeah, that's right. Genevieve Meyer tells me she's speaking out now so other survivors can see there is hope on the other side of trauma and to show the world something like this can happen to anyone. Her story starts in Southern California.
The first time I was trafficked was 11. I was trafficked by family members. I had a 37-year-old boyfriend.
Genevieve Meyer says although she was just 11 years old, she believes she was the one putting a roof over her family's head.
I suspect that maybe I might have paid the rent because the boyfriend that I had was the person who owned the house that we lived in.
She says eventually someone outside her family called police.
Investigation was done, and he was tried and convicted. He got a whole 4 months in jail.
When Genevieve tried to get away from her environment, she was labeled as a runaway and as a bad kid, and a case manager was assigned to check in on her.
That didn't happen, and what happened instead is a 42-year-old man in the neighborhood found me attractive and began preying on me.
And instead of helping her, her mom signed a so-called permission slip that made it legal for the adult man to marry a 15-year-old.
So she signed over some kind of guardianship to this man and gave him me and this guardianship paperwork, and he took me from Southern California in a recreational vehicle, so like an RV, all the way to Mississippi. So it was just the two of us. I was alone with him. He had complete access to do whatever he liked.
Genevieve was able to get away from her husband and fled to the other side of the country. She says she became pregnant and endured an uphill battle to protect her child and get a divorce. She says she tells her story now to show how it can happen to anyone, and it could be in plain sight.
And I mean, I definitely could have just left it in my past, you know, and moved forward and never spoke out about it. But yeah, to bring that awareness of it could happen to anybody, no matter, you know, what your paycheck is or what your education level is or what zip code you live in, it can absolutely happen to anybody.
Wow, Kelsey, what an incredible story. And you were just telling us that Genevieve is doing more than just sharing her story with you.
Yeah, so it started with her sharing her story just to talk to survivors, but now she's talking to lawmakers and advocating for new laws to make it harder for predators to prey on children.
And you said that this can happen to anyone. We don't often think that, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a woman. It can be a man as well. And you met another survivor, is that correct?
Yeah, so in the next half hour, you're going to hear from a man who is a survivor of human trafficking, and his story actually also started in Southern California.
Wow, incredible. Yeah. Kelsey, thank you so much. A very powerful story this morning.
Thank you.
And Indiana's mom's quest to get stricter warnings on a popular antibiotic has hit a roadblock. The FDA has not taken action since a citizen petition was filed 6 months ago. Indiana mom Heather McCarthy says she's been pushing for changes after the 2013 death of her son Shay. She says Shay was suffering from mental health side effects from the antibiotic Levaquin and died after he crashed his car into a cement embankment. The Southern Network for Adverse Reactions and Dr. Charles Bennett submitted a petition to the FDA requesting a black box warning to identify psychiatric adverse events, including suicide. The petition also requests the FDA add fluoroquinolone associated disability to the black box warning. Heather McCarthy and Dr. Bennett are upset with the FDA's response and lack of investigation.
It's really important, this question, because without these a well-written product label, patients are uninformed. And here we have a side effect that includes suicide, that includes psychiatric disabilities, neuropsychiatric disabilities for over 10 years in time. For a drug that's been used, Cipro and levofloxacin, by 22 million people in the United States last year, about 10% of the population.
The drug maker Janssen stopped making brand name Levaquin in December of 2017. However, the product may remain on shelves until September of this year. Also, millions of Americans are still taking generic versions of the drug. The makers of Levaquin stand by the safety of the medication. We reached out to the FDA for a response a week ago, and they just sent us a letter saying they are working to resolve the issues raised in the petition.
The time right now is 5:09. Posting signs like this in classrooms across Indiana will not be required under a bill moving through the State House. Instead, it would be optional due to a new amendment. If schools do choose to buy and hang in God We Trust posters, they must raise their own funds. They cannot use public money. The original bill would have made the posters mandatory. Bloomington Democrat Mark Stoops cited the Founding Fathers and Declaration of Independence before voting against the bill.
John Adams said the government of the United States of America is not, in any sense, founded on the Christian religion. George Washington would never say Jesus or Christ in public appearances and even refused to take communion. The Declaration of Independence noted that the power of the government is derived not from God, but from the people.
The bill now heads to the full Senate.
Indiana University Bloomington says it will no longer require prospective students to submit standardized test scores on their applications. The policy change was unanimously approved by the Bloomington Faculty Council earlier this week. It means undergraduates applying for terms in 2021 can choose whether or not to have their SAT or ACT scores considered as part of their application. The university says they made the change because some students feel that their scores do not accurately reflect their academic potential. There are some groups of students that the scores are still required for, however. Homeschooled students and those subject to NCAA standards must still submit theirs. Applications with the test score option will be available starting August 1st.
At 5:10, students at one Indianapolis cosmetology school learn how to save you from a bad hair day. But that's not all the stylists are getting special training on. They're also learning to possibly save your life. Aspiring stylists at the McKenzie Center for Innovation and Technology are learning how to detect skin cancer. The training is offered through Eyes on Cancer, a company that believes that the beauty industry is the first line of defense when it comes to spotting skin cancer. The instructor found out about the initiative after seeing a story on RTV6, and since December, 25 of her students have become certified. Claudia Hack says she already is using what she learned from the course.
My neighbors, I was trimming her hair and I noticed a spot on her neck, and I told her that she might want to get that looked at.
Well, if you're interested in joining the Eyes on Cancer Army of certified beauty professionals, you can learn more about signing up. All the information is at theindychannel.com right now. Let's get a check of our forecast on this Thursday. Todd Clausen is standing by. Hey, Todd.
Hey, Lauren, as you walk out the door here this morning, even though I'll be talking about rain, I really don't think you need to grab the umbrella because the rain chances aren't until later on this evening. Now, if you are walking out the door this morning and you're not coming home till, say, after 8, 9 o'clock, then you probably want to have the umbrella tucked away in the car somewhere. We're looking at a few spotty showers by 5 p.m., but it's really not until 8 p.m. and beyond that we bring in the best chances of seeing any rainfall here across the area. So your morning commute is going to be a decent one with mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures will be hovering right around freezing. So that's a step in the right direction, as well as the temperatures are a lot warmer than they have been throughout the course of the week. And the precipitation, whether it be rain or snow, is not very far off to our west. It's just slowly making its way to the east. And that's why it's going to take much of the day for it to arrive. The good news is temperatures will be well above freezing by the time that does arrive. So we're looking at an all rain event later on this evening. About 42 degrees today in Greenwood, 44 in Columbus, a little cooler to the north with high temperatures in the 30s. We'll time all that rain out for you coming up using TrueCast in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. The impeachment trial continues as Democrats begin day 2 of opening arguments. Coming up, the ongoing dispute over witnesses and the shocking disruption during the latest proceeding.
And NFL wide receiver Antonio Brown facing more legal trouble while a warrant is now out for his arrest. We'll be right back.
Visit the Hiring Hoosiers job board.
Today will begin the second day of opening arguments in the impeachment trial against President Donald Trump.
Day 1 belonged to the Democrats, who were the first to present their arguments Wednesday. 7 impeachment managers detailed the House's case that led to 2 articles of impeachment for abuse of power and obstruction of justice. They also expressed the importance of allowing witnesses and additional documents in the case. After a vote to change the rules in Tuesday's session, those matters will be decided after opening arguments on both sides are complete. Republican senators complain that Democrats are simply repeating what has already been said. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says he believes his fellow Democrats are making progress to get the witnesses they want. Democrats will continue to present their opening arguments at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
An unexpected interruption during yesterday's session shook up the Senate chamber.
Senate will be in order. The Sergeant at Arms will restore order in the gallery.
Well, this sketch is of the scene that unfolded. The protester yelling about Jesus Christ and was quickly carried out by police. Officials say the man was arrested and charged with unlawful conduct for entering the Senate gallery.
Police have issued an arrest warrant for wide receiver Antonio Brown. Brown was reportedly involved in an altercation at his home in Hollywood, Florida, Tuesday. The 31-year-old free agent has been charged on burglary with battery, burglary of an unoccupied conveyance, and criminal mischief. Police say his trainer was also part of the altercation and has also been arrested. Brown last played for the New England Patriots but was cut from the team in September amid sexual misconduct allegations.
It is 5:18. The CDC says it's now testing several people in the United States for the Wuhan coronavirus. The disease has killed 17 people and sickened more than 500 others, most of them in China. The CDC announced that the first case of the coronavirus in the U.S. happened on Tuesday. They say it was a man in his 30s who lives in Washington state. The CDC is now testing several people in the U.S. who have traveled to Wuhan or have close contact with someone who may have the virus. The strain has been linked to a market in the Chinese city that was selling seafood and live animals. Right now, back here at home, we want to get a check of our forecast as you're heading out the door on this Thursday.
All right, as you walk out the door this morning, you're walking out to temperatures that are running a lot warmer than they have been, so it's not as cold. It's going to be a dry commute for all of you. There could be a flurry in some western communities, which I'll show you in just a second, but it's not going to cause the ground to get wet or cause any issues whatsoever. However, rain is expected to arrive later today in the forecast. So again, if you're going to be walking out the door now and you're not going to be coming home until, let's say, after 8 o'clock this evening, you may want to have the umbrella handy. This is your 24-hour temperature change map. So temperatures are running anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees warmer than they were 24 hours ago. And that puts our temperatures in the 30s anywhere you go. No longer do we have the teens and the 20s across the area. It's 30 right now in Crawfordsville as well as Bedford. You're two of our cooler spots. Pair of threes in Indy as well as Bloomington. Muncie at 35 degrees and Tipton sitting at 31. So throughout the day today, our temperatures get up into the 40s. It's not going to be a bright day for us as lots of clouds are going to be in place, but it's mainly going to be a dry day for us as we're not expecting any precipitation, at least during the daytime hours. That all changes later on this evening. Now, I mentioned the snow chance, and Storm Team 6 radar is picking up a few flurries just north of Crawfordsville, south of Lafayette. That's just about it. And all this snow is just basically making its way from south to north across the area. And then you could see the last few frames here. This is a 2-hour radar loop. The snow just kind of eroding away. That's because it's running into a lot of dry air. And if you joined us yesterday, I mentioned how this batch of rain and snow was moving into Kansas City, but it was just slowly going to make its way to the east. Typically, systems move a lot faster than this. This is just a very slow moving one. And the snow will just make its way up to the north, fizzle away. And that's why the morning hours will be dry for us across the area. The evening commute, there could be a stray shower, especially in southern locations for the evening drive home, but it's really not until after 8 o'clock that the bulk of this rainfall will move in. And then once it does start, it's with us throughout the overnight hours, throughout the day. Tomorrow, your morning commute tomorrow is going to be a wet one, and then the rain will just continue off and on. It's not a heavy rainfall. That's the good news. Not expecting flooding across the area. It's just going to be one of those days that's damp and dreary, and you just need to have the umbrella handy at any point throughout the day. And then once we get to Saturday morning, as the colder air comes back in, we'll switch over to a few snow showers across the area, but we are not expecting much of anything in the way of accumulation, and even if we did, it's not going to be widespread. It would just be in some isolated areas and nothing more than a coating. So tomorrow we are into the low 40s with rain showers off and on throughout the entire day. As the colder air comes in, there's that transition over to a little bit of snow shower activity, and TrueCast shows you just how spotty it's going to be throughout the day on Saturday. That's why there'll be some spots maybe you can get a quick coating and maybe up to a ½ an inch tops as the system moves through, but that is just about it. And by the time we get to Sunday, all the precipitation is gone, and then we have a pretty dry stretch of weather that's going to take us through the first half of next week. It's not until Wednesday evening that we bring back in the chance of some precipitation, but notice the temperatures getting into the 40s Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. As you're heading out there for your Thursday morning drive, here's a look on the northeast. northeast side of town, I-465 and I-69. Traffic's moving along just fine, starting to pick up as you can see. Let's take a look at your drive times though on our Traffic Now map. Coming in from the east side on I-70 westbound, it's a 10-minute drive from Post Road to I-65 at the north split. No issues there. So let's take you down south of here. This is a live look at I-465, a view near Arlington Avenue on the southeast side. Traffic's moving along just fine, eastbound and westbound there. No delays to slow you down.
Honda is now recalling millions of vehicles over airbag safety issues. It affects certain Honda and Acura vehicles with model years between 1996 and 2003. The Accord, Civic, CR-V, and Odyssey are included. Honda says they have dysfunctional Takata airbag inflators because they were not produced with the proper seals. The automaker says owners will be notified in mid-March, but replacement parts won't be available for another year. A small Italian restaurant making a big difference with a giant pizza. Take a look at that after the break, what they did to create this football field-sized pie. Sign me up for a slice of that. We'll be right back.
Budget stretches further at Mattress Firm.
An Italian restaurant in Australia cooked a massive rectangular pizza to raise money for a good cause. The restaurant in Sydney wanted to do something big to help those fighting wildfires across the country. So they made this pizza 338 feet long. They used a giant conveyor oven this weekend. Now, that's longer than an American football field. They sliced it up into 4,000 slices to feed those who showed up to donate to the South Wales Rural Fire Rescue Service.
That looks good. That's crazy.
That does look really good.
So long.
They have that in the vending machine down the hall?
I don't think so.
Oh, it looks so good, though. I could eat pizza every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day, no matter the hour.
Yeah.
Anytime.
5:30 in the morning sounds good.
All right. What's our weather like?
Outside right now, it's dry for now, and it's going to be dry for much of the day, despite the fact, as you look at Storm Team 6 radar, you see rain and snow off to our west. That's not going to arrive until later on this evening. So as you work your way throughout the day today, unless you're going to be out until about 6, 7 o'clock and beyond, you do not need to have the umbrella handy. Temperatures in the upper 30s today to the north, mid-40s, though, from Indianapolis to the south. The time now is 5:27. We're back in just a few minutes. Stick with us. We'll be here on the other side of this commercial break.
Today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
2019 saw a dip in certain crimes here in the Circle City, but there is still a lot of work to be done.
And we're working for you this morning, finding out how IMPD's new top cop plans to decrease crime numbers even more in those coming years. And human trafficking, it's an issue that affects every Hoosier in every part of our state.
Our Kelsey Anderson is live in studio with us this morning, sharing the story of one survivor and the signs you should watch for to help someone who may be in danger. But first, we need to take a check at our forecast. The good news is it's not as bitterly cold as it has been the past few mornings.
Yeah, I felt like the walk into work was not bad at all, Todd, but we do have some changes to expect coming our way.
Yeah, you know, when you walk out the door, you don't get that stinging feeling from the air being so cold. Instead, you're walking out the temperatures in the 30s compared to the teens and 20s, but obviously you still need to have the jacket handy. You do not need the sunglasses today, as we're going to be dealing with lots of clouds. And I didn't check the umbrella despite rain in the forecast. It's not going to arrive until later tonight, so I really don't think you need to carry the umbrella around all day long because of the rain in the forecast, because it will not be needed until probably after at least 6, 7 o'clock this evening. There's been a few snowflakes on the western side of the state as this system continues to move from south to north, and it's running into a lot of dry air. That's why you see a lot of the white, which would be snow on radar, just fizzling away. But there's a lot of moisture with this system to work with. It goes all the way from Wisconsin down to the Gulf of Mexico, so eventually our atmosphere is going to saturate itself. Once that happens, that's when we'll start to bring some rain in, but that is not until this evening. We're in the 30s right now across the area. As we work our way throughout the day today, just lots of clouds around, temperatures up into the 40s. We'll talk more about the rain showers and the timeline for you coming up in just a little bit, but at 5:32, let's get an update on the roadways with Lauren.
Todd, everything is traveling up to speed here at I-465 and I-69. This is a view on the northeast side, so that is good news if you're heading out to start your Thursday. Let's take a look at our Traffic Now map and Plan out your commute if you're driving to work from the south side of town, starting here in Greenwood, Stones Crossing Road, heading up to the Harding Street ramps at I-465. It's a 12-minute drive, so that is moving along normal. No delays there. Over across the county, starting here at County Line Road in Greenwood, heading up to downtown I-70 at the North Split. It's just a quick 12-minute drive. Let's take a look right now. A live picture at I-465, a view of Arlington Avenue and the interstate here on the southeast side. You can see traffic is picking up. Lots of headlights moving across your screen, eastbound and westbound. No delays here to slow you down. Now, we do want to break down a construction project. This one's here in downtown Indianapolis, and it's going to last a little bit longer than first thought. Citizens Energy Group says sewer rehab work on Pennsylvania Street will continue into early next week. That's a change from what they told us yesterday. Right now, 3 lanes are closed between New York and Washington. The agency says one of those lanes is scheduled to reopen this afternoon.
Working for you this morning, we're taking a closer look at new data that shows more people are getting shot and fewer homicides are being solved in Indianapolis. 2019 saw a drop in a number of crimes, including homicide, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, and vehicle theft. While the criminal homicide rate dipped slightly lower, the number of non-fatal shootings and shooting victims is on the rise. In 2019, there were 452 non-fatal shootings, injuring 524 people. This is a 7% increase in victims compared to 2018. We spoke with IMPD's new chief, Randall Taylor, to get his take on the stats.
We've got some work to do. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I think we're moving in the right direction. But I'm still concerned with the violence numbers.
Chief Taylor also discussed new initiatives like the Crime Gun Intelligence Center as a way to decrease violent crime. The department also plans to add more officers and decrease the size of the area they're patrolling. That means officers will have a better chance to get to know smaller neighborhoods.
It is 5:34. January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and although the thought is scary and it's something you may not even think could happen to someone in your family, officials right here in Indiana says that it's happening everywhere in every county.
Our Kelsey Anderson sat down with one Indiana man who was trafficked in California at 11 by his own mom. She joins us live in studio this morning with his story. Kelsey.
Hey, good morning. So the message officials want to send during the month of January is that human trafficking can happen to anyone, anywhere. And we need to be alert to the things that are going on around us, especially with the children in our lives. Eric Harris is a human trafficking survivor. He tells me his mom trafficked him when he was just 11, when she introduced him to the pedophilia culture. After that, things got much worse.
I got out. My mom moved in with these coworkers. That was told to me. And then slowly but surely, a trafficker two or groomer two, he saw the brokenness of the relationship. And so he played on that vulnerability and that need for me to have the nuclear family.
Eric says once the trust was built, the man began exploiting him to even more men. He was able to escape, and now he's working on getting his education. I spoke with Kate Kemmer with the Indiana Coalition to End Sexual Assault and Human Trafficking. She tells me there are signs, especially for kids, when something bad is happening to them at home. And the main one, and the easiest thing to see, is if their behavior makes a drastic change. So if a straight-A student starts acting up in class or sleeping or fighting, that's the time you should ask questions about what's going on. She says when it comes to children, you shouldn't be afraid to call authorities because it's better to be safe than sorry.
You need to be less worried about the adults that are harming kids and whether or not you might be wrong. If you're wrong, you're wrong. They'll do the assessment and they'll leave. And if you're not wrong, you may have access services for a child that has been going through a nightmare that you couldn't imagine.
And Kelsey, Eric says he has one message in particular that he wants people to take away from his story.
Yeah, and that message is he wants people to believe survivors. Even if their story can change, it's a very traumatic event that they've been through. So even if it changes, believe them and be glad that they trusted you enough to tell you their story.
Kelsey, thank you for bringing us this important topic. So important that we're all aware that this is happening so we can keep our eyes open. Our next story today is about a bill that would allow schools to pay for weapons and training for school employees It's making its way through the State House right now. Senate Bill 263 would divert money from the Safe Schools grant. Those funds could then be used to pay for specialized weapons training for employees. Under this proposal, the employees who wish to be armed on school property must complete at least 8 hours of training every year, provide proof of that training, complete an evaluation, and have authorization from that school.
And a bill that would make it illegal to hold your phone while driving is headed to the full House. It would not affect mounted phones, Bluetooth, or speakers. Right now, Indiana has a law that prohibits texting while driving, but police say that law is unenforceable. So this new bill would expand the current law. Currently, 21 states have a hands-free law, including Tennessee and Illinois.
January is National Mentoring Month, and one of the biggest mentorship organizations here in our country is in need of volunteers right here in our community. Big Brothers Big Sisters says that 1,200 kids are just waiting for their matches right now. 70% of them are boys. Doug Shreve and Will Ramey, who were first matched several years ago, say relationships formed through the program can continue even when the littles grow up.
He showed me that the worldly view of what a man is, it isn't necessarily what a man truly is, you know, and I feel like without that influence in my life, things may have been a lot different.
The relationship started with just the two of us, and then my wife came on board. Will has seen all of our sons be born. I've seen his kids born.
Well, to learn more about how to apply or what the process is like to become a big brother or a big sister, you can head on over to theindychannel.com and click on this story. It is 5:39 as kids are heading out to the bus stop. Todd, what do they need to wear this morning?
You know, you definitely need to have the jacket handy, and you may want to have the hat and gloves, but it's not nearly as cold this morning as it has been throughout much of this week. So that is the good news, as the temperature is going to average right around 30 degrees. Now, as the kids come home from school, we're talking about 44 degrees for your temperature, with cloudy skies, but it's still dry. That is the good news. So the kids get to school and back home from school just fine today. As far as the snow and the rain goes, there's a few returns showing up here in western locations. That is not going to be an issue for us. It's going to take until this evening for the rain to move in, but once the rain does move in this evening, it will go from fairly steady overnight to scattered as we work our way into the day tomorrow. We'll talk more about this storm system in detail for you coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. The city at the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak has been placed on lockdown. Why officials say this drastic move was necessary.
And FedEx is expanding its delivery service. Coming up, details on what the company is doing to help you get your packages faster and to help it better compete with other shippers. It's 5:40. We'll be right back.
Guaranteed at Jackson Hewitt.
Welcome back. It is 5:43 on our Thursday. Here's a live look at your commute a little north of the downtown area. View of I-65 here near 30th Street. Traffic is moving along up to speed both northbound and southbound. No delays or crashes here to slow you down. Developing this morning in Seattle, police are looking for multiple suspects involved in this deadly shooting last night at the city's central business district. Police believe that the shooting stemmed from some sort of argument. Multiple people reportedly pulled out guns, sending dozens running for cover. One woman was killed. At least 7 others, including a 9-year-old boy, were injured. And this is just the latest in a string of violence across Seattle. Hours before the incident, a 28-year-old man was shot and injured by police. And on Tuesday, another shooting left a 55-year-old man dead. Authorities say right now they do not believe that those shootings are connected.
Panic this morning in China as the government has placed a ban on travel in Wuhan. All buses, the subway system, ferries, and the airport have been locked down. Officials say they're taking every effort to contain the virus ahead of a busy travel weekend as people flock out of town to celebrate the Chinese New Year Saturday. The city of 11 million people is considered the epicenter of the new coronavirus outbreak that has killed 17 and infected nearly 600, including an American man. Right now, there are no vaccines to protect against this family of viruses, but health officials in the U.S. are working on one.
Turning now to Washington, where opening arguments in the impeachment trial of President Trump are underway. Democrats have started to lay out their case, giving a detailed timeline of events from the whistleblower report to the opening of the investigation. Lead House Manager Representative Adam Schiff ended the day by saying if the president isn't held accountable, it will set a dangerous precedent for the future.
There is no remedy for such a threat but removal from office of the President of the United States. If impeachment and removal cannot hold him accountable, then he truly is above the law.
Today's shift says House managers will lay out the constitutional framework for why President Trump's alleged abuse of power is grounds for his removal from office.
Meanwhile, 21 attorneys general, including Indiana's Curtis Hill, have signed a letter asking the Senate to throw out the articles of impeachment against President Trump. Hill traveled to Washington yesterday to make his case. He also wrote an op-ed earlier this month criticizing the impeachment investigation. Hill describes the articles of impeachment as fundamentally flawed.
It is 5:45. A grandmother out in California is hoping to brighten someone's day and strengthen relationships. Terry Chamberlain is the creator of Grandma in a Box. The grandmother of 4 said that she was scared of losing connection with her grandkids when they had to move out of the state. So she downloaded the Skype app and would send her grandkids baked goods with frosting and sprinkles. When friends started hearing about this, they wanted their own Grandma in a Box, and her business was born. But for Terry, it's not about the money. Success is bringing generations together.
It's so hard at Christmas time or their birthday to buy them a gift if you don't know them very well. I think kids do need a connection with their grandparents.
Customers can subscribe for a box for just $20 a month. The cookies come pre-baked with icing and sprinkles and other decorations, as well as a special note from Terry. I could go for a cookie and a Grandma in a Box right about
and
now.
I'm hoping maybe Todd is going to tell us that it's going to rain sprinkles later today and not rain.
Yeah.
Maybe initially some sprinkles or maybe a few flakes, and then I'll turn into more than just sprinkles here across the area with our rain chances. So our rain chances, you see it today, I have at 40%. Just know that's later in the day. Tomorrow we're going to be dealing with rain off and on throughout the entire day. So about 100% rain chances tomorrow, and then Saturday it's going to be rain and snow chances, about 50% chance of those showers moving through, or 50% of the area will see the rain showers move through. There's a few flakes up there in northwest Indiana right now. We had a few here on the western side of the state earlier. You could see they faded away, and what's happening is the precipitation, which in this case is some snow right now, is running into a lot of dry air. That's why it basically, you see it and then you don't on Storm Team 6 radar, but as they expand out, there's a lot more precipitation to our south, and once you get far enough south, it's all rain right now. But this is all going to start to lift to the north, and it is going to bring us some decent rainfall totals over the course of the next 24 to 36 hours. Watch how this snow just fades away with the dry air. We're dry with cloudy skies throughout much of the day today, and then this evening, that's when the rain showers will start to arrive. They'll move in from south to north for the most part after sunset, but once they do start, the overnight hours will feature scattered showers. They continue into your Friday morning commute. There'll be times where the rain's fairly steady across the area, but they're all going to be very light rain showers as they make their way through the area. And then there's definitely some breaks across the area tomorrow. It's not a solid day of rain from start to finish, but there will be, again, quite a bit of rainfall heading our way. 33 in Greencastle is your temperature right now, 33 in Bloomington, 35 in Muncie, and Richmond sitting at 30 degrees throughout the day today. Temperatures do get up into the 40s. We probably don't get there until about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then as we continue into the afternoon hours, we should level off right around 44 degrees. Now this evening, if you're heading down to Bloomington for the big game, Michigan State at Indiana, the good news is temperatures will be above freezing. The bad news is there will be some spotty showers around as that game starts around 8:30. And as you're heading home from Assembly Hall, temperatures will be around 36 degrees with still those rain showers moving through. Tomorrow, definitely have the umbrella handy from start to finish, and as those colder temperatures start to work in tomorrow evening, that's when we'll go over to a little bit of snow. It's on the backside of this system. You see the snow showers moving through on Saturday. They're very spotty. If you do see some of these snow showers, it could put down a coating, but it shouldn't be anything more than that. And then to start Sunday and next week, we're looking at dry conditions with temperatures right around 40 degrees. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a look right now at our Traffic Now map. No crashes to report around the metro area, so we're planning out your drive heading eastbound on I-70 this morning from Ronald Reagan Parkway near the airport to I-65 downtown. It's a 12-minute drive, no issues. So let's take a look outside right now. Good morning to you in Greenwood. This is a live look at County Line Road and Interstate 65. Traffic very quiet in this area. Great news if you're heading out the door at this early hour. Sunday is no longer a day off for FedEx employees. Starting this week, the shipping company is beginning Sunday ground service. The move comes as FedEx is trying to compete with Amazon and other shippers shippers. FedEx delivered packages on Sundays during the holiday season, but now most Americans can expect to receive orders 7 days a week, year-round. Its competitor, UPS, also launched Sunday delivery at the beginning of the year.
Experts say access to the 5G internet will be better than ever this year. 5G offers faster speeds and connections and seamless streaming. Right now, all 4 of major wireless providers in the U.S. are offering some kind of 5G service. Last month, T-Mobile launched what it calls the first nationwide 5G network. The other 3 providers say they will have coast-to-coast service later this year. And it's not just for your phone. Cars, laptops, tablets, and other technology will one day enjoy the sped-up 5G connectivity.
Uber is testing out a new feature that would let some drivers set their own prices. Drivers with the rideshare company could charge up to 5 times the amount that Uber would for a ride. Right now, this feature is just being tested out in California. This comes as the state implements a new gig economy law that requires companies to treat workers as employees. No word yet on when or if there will be a national rollout.
A new series is giving you an inside look at Britain's royal family. Well, sort of. Coming up, why the show is likely to be a world away from the prim and properness of the real House of Windsor. We'll be right back.
The time right now is 5:54. It's Thursday morning, and here's a look right now at your drive at I-65 and County Line Road to the south. You can see everything is moving along smoothly northbound and southbound. Great news as you're heading out the door this morning.
A new comedy about Britain's royal family will feature some famous American voices. The upcoming animated series is called The Prince. Orlando Bloom is set to voice Prince Harry. The series looks at the House of Windsor through the eyes of 6-year-old Prince George, the oldest son of Prince William and Kate Middleton, who is 3rd in line for the throne. The show's creator, Gary Janetti, says he got the idea from posts on his popular Instagram page, which featured the young royal appearing to react to news stories. The show will premiere on HBO Max sometime in the spring. Here at 5:55, not a royal forecast, I'd say, Todd.
You know, it's good and it's bad, right? We're getting up into the 40s. You're walking out the door to temperatures that are in the 30s, so it's a lot warmer than it has been really every morning this entire week. But you do notice a little snow on Storm Team 6 radar. That is not reaching the ground. The air is very, very dry, with the exception of maybe a flurry in northwest Indiana. Almost the entire state is dry right now. That changes, though, later on this evening. So the daytime hours, just cloudy skies, 45 degrees, but showers develop tonight after about 7 o'clock this evening. Once the rain starts, it's going to turn into a pretty wet overnight and a wet day on Friday as well. We'll talk more about that extended forecast coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 5:55. Stay with us. We'll be right back.